Tuesday afternoon, 2:43 p.m. 20-year-old Preston Blackwood III pulls his matte black Lamborghini Huracan into the fire lane outside Brown University's main library, directly blocking the clearly marked emergency access route. Preston isn't concerned about the bright red curb, the multiple nitrogen monoxide parking fire lane signs, or the fact that he's creating a potentially deadly obstruction. He's late for his trust fund advisor meeting, and finding a legal parking spot would require walking an extra 50 yards and inconvenience. He considers beneath someone of his social status. What Preston doesn't know is that inside the library, 73-year-old Professor Emeritus Dr. Helen Walsh is having a massive heart attack in the third-floor reading room. At 2:51 p.m., Emergency Medical Services receives the 911 call. Ambulance Unit 7 races toward the university with sirens blaring, carrying the equipment and expertise needed to save Dr. Walsh's life. Every second counts in cardiac emergencies and Preston Blackwood's. Illegal parking is about to steal precious minutes that could mean the difference between life and death. The ambulance arrives at 2:56 p.m. and immediately encounters Preston's Lamborghini blocking the fire lane. Paramedics are forced to park 2 blocks away and run with their life-saving equipment, losing crucial time while Dr. Walsh fights for her life 3 floors above. Campus security officer James Martinez finds Preston emerging from his meeting 47 minutes later, completely oblivious to the emergency his selfish parking has complicated. "Sir, is this your vehicle?" Officer Martinez asks, pointing to the Lamborghini. Preston glances at his car with casual indifference. "Yeah, what about it? You're parked in an emergency fire lane. We've had a medical emergency, and your vehicle blocked ambulance access." Preston pulls out his phone and starts checking messages. "Look, I was only here for like an hour. Nobody got hurt, right?" Officer Martinez stares at him in disbelief. "Sir, a professor had a heart attack. Paramedics had to carry equipment from 2 blocks away because they couldn't access the building." Preston shrugs dismissively. "Well, is she okay?" "She's currently in intensive care." "Then, what's the problem?" Crisis averted. Officer Martinez has been working campus security for 12 years. But Preston's callous response to nearly contributing to someone's death leaves him speechless. "Sir, I'm issuing you citations for illegal parking in a fire lane, obstruction of emergency services, and reckless endangerment." Preston finally looks up from his phone. "Citations. Do you know who I am? My family donated $15 million to build the new science wing. My grandfather has his name on 3 buildings here. That doesn't give you the right to block emergency vehicles." Preston's expression shifts from annoyed to condescending. "Officer Martinez, right? Let me explain how the world works. Rich people don't get tickets for parking violations. We get polite requests to move our cars. This whole citation thing is really unnecessary." Officer Martinez has heard entitled students before. But Preston's response, while someone fights for their life because of his actions, represents a new level of moral bankruptcy. "Mr. Blackwood, your family's donations don't give you the right to endanger lives." Preston smirks. "Officer Martinez, my family's donations literally built this campus. Without people like us, you wouldn't have a job. Think about that before you write tickets." 3 weeks later, Preston appears before Judge Frank Caprio, confident that his family's wealth and university connections will make this minor inconvenience disappear. He enters the courtroom wearing a $3,000 Tom Ford suit and carrying himself with the arrogant swagger of someone who's never faced real consequences. "Good morning, Mr. Blackwood," Judge Caprio says, reviewing the case file with growing concern. "Morning, Your Honor," Preston responds casually, as if greeting a waiter at an expensive restaurant. Judge Caprio looks up sharply. "Mr. Blackwood, this is a court of law. The proper response is "Good morning, Your Honor." Preston rolls his eyes slightly. "Right, good morning, Your Honor. Mr. Blackwood, you're charged with illegal parking in a fire lane, obstruction of emergency services, and reckless endangerment. These charges stem from an incident where your vehicle blocked ambulance access during a medical emergency. How do you plead?" Preston's attorney, Marcus Rothschild, stands immediately. "Your Honor, my client pleads not guilty to all charges. We believe this is an overreach of municipal authority targeting my client because of his family's prominence." Judge Caprio's eyebrows rise. "Mr. Rothschild, your client blocked an ambulance during a heart attack emergency. How exactly is that targeting his family?" Preston, against his lawyer's advice, decides to speak. "Your Honor, with all due respect, I think this whole situation has been blown way out of proportion. I parked in a convenient spot for maybe an hour. It's not like I intentionally tried to hurt anyone." Judge Caprio stares at Preston with controlled fury. "Mr. Blackwood, did you just describe blocking emergency access during a cardiac emergency as parking in a convenient spot?" "Well, yeah. I mean, it worked out fine in the end. The professor survived, so no harm done." The courtroom falls into stunned silence. Judge Caprio slowly removes his reading glasses and sets them on the bench. "Mr. Blackwood, let me make sure I understand your position. You believe that because Dr. Walsh survived her heart attack, your illegal parking that delayed her medical treatment was acceptable?" Preston shrugs. "I mean, she's fine now, right? Sometimes these things work out." Judge Caprio's voice becomes deadly quiet. "Mr. Blackwood, do you know what happened to Dr. Walsh because of the delay your parking caused?" Preston looks genuinely puzzled. "I don't know. She went to the hospital. Dr. Walsh suffered significant cardiac damage because paramedics lost crucial minutes, carrying equipment from 2 blocks away. She required emergency surgery and spent 8 days in intensive care." Preston's lawyer attempts damage control. "Your Honor, there's no proven causal link between my client's parking and the medical complications." Judge Caprio cuts him off sharply. "Mr. Rothschild, your client created a life-threatening obstruction during a cardiac emergency. The causal link is obvious." Preston, oblivious to the gravity of his situation, makes his biggest mistake yet. "Your Honor, look, I'm sorry the old lady had heart problems, but that's not really my fault. Heart attacks happen to old people. It's not like my parking caused her medical condition." The courtroom erupts in shocked gasps. Judge Caprio stands up, something he rarely does during proceedings. "Mr. Blackwood, did you just refer to a respected professor emeritus as the old lady and suggest her heart attack was inevitable?" Preston realizes he's upset the judge, but doubles down. "I mean, she's like 70-something. At that age, health issues are expected. You can't blame young people for the medical problems of elderly faculty." Judge Caprio's voice rises with controlled rage. "Mr. Blackwood, Dr. Helen Walsh is a renowned literature professor who has dedicated 50 years to education. She was having her first cardiac event, brought on by stress, in a building your family helped fund. Your illegal parking turned a manageable emergency into a life-threatening crisis." Preston's attorney frantically gestures for his client to stop talking, but Preston is too arrogant to recognize his danger. "Your Honor, I think everyone's being a little dramatic here. My family has donated millions to Brown University. We're not the bad mistake, and everyone's acting like I committed murder." Judge Caprio's response thunders through the courtroom. "Mr. Blackwood, you didn't commit murder, but your selfish actions nearly caused someone's death. But they didn't. She survived. Why are we even having this conversation? We're having this conversation because your attitude demonstrates that you learned nothing from nearly contributing to a professor's death." Preston's confidence finally begins to crack. "Your Honor, I'm willing to pay whatever fine you think is appropriate. My family can certainly handle any financial penalty." Judge Caprio leans forward. Mr. Blackwood, what do you think an appropriate fine would be for blocking an ambulance during a heart attack? Preston considers this carefully. I don't know. $500. $1,000. Whatever the standard rate is for parking violations. Mr. Blackwood, this isn't a parking violation. This is reckless endangerment that nearly killed someone. Preston's voice becomes defensive. Your Honor, you're making this sound way worse than it actually was. I didn't intentionally block the ambulance. I just parked where it was convenient, in a clearly marked fire lane with multiple warning signs. Yeah, but those signs are just suggestions. Everyone knows rich people park wherever they want. That's how the system works. Judge Caprio has heard enough. Mr. Blackwood, you just told this court that you believe wealth exempts you from parking laws designed to save lives. Preston, sensing he's in trouble but unable to stop himself, makes his most damaging statement yet. Your Honor, let's be realistic here. My family's money built half the city. We employ thousands of people. When people like us need convenient parking, reasonable people understand that our time is more valuable than following every little rule. The courtroom explodes in angry murmurs. Judge Caprio raises his hand for silence. Mr. Blackwood, you believe your time is more valuable than Dr. Walsh's life? That's not what I said. That's exactly what you said. You claimed your convenience was worth risking someone's life. Preston's attorney desperately stands. Your Honor, my client is young and has made some poor word choices, Mr. Rothschild. Your client is 20 years old and attending an elite university. His words reflect his values, not his age. Preston, realizing his usual tactics aren't working, tries a different approach. Your Honor, I've learned my lesson from this experience. I'll never park in a fire lane again. I'm willing to do community service or attend some kind of traffic safety class. Judge Caprio studies Preston carefully. What lesson have you learned, Mr. Blackwood? That parking in fire lanes can sometimes cause problems. Sometimes. Well, usually there aren't medical emergencies happening. This was just bad timing. Judge Caprio's patience finally snaps. Mr. Blackwood, your response to this entire situation has been to minimize your actions. Blame the victim's age, dismiss the consequences, and suggest that your family's wealth should exempt you from accountability. Preston's face flushes red. Your Honor, I don't think that's fair. I've been very cooperative throughout this process. Cooperative? You just told this court that rich people should be allowed to park wherever they want because their time is more valuable than following life-saving regulations. I didn't mean it like that. How did you mean it? Mr. Blackwood. Preston realizes he's trapped. I just think there should be some flexibility for people who contribute to the community. Judge Caprio delivers his verdict with devastating precision. Mr. Blackwood, you are found guilty on all charges. Your actions created a life-threatening emergency, endangered Dr. Walsh's life, and demonstrated complete disregard for public safety. Preston's confidence evaporates. Your Honor, what's the fine for these charges? Mr. Blackwood, this isn't about fines. This is about ensuring you understand the value of human life. I understand the value of human life. I just made a parking mistake. Judge Caprio's final judgment is delivered with a weight of 30 years on the bench. You are sentenced to 90 days in county jail for reckless endangerment. Preston's face goes white with shock. 90 days. Your Honor, that's completely insane. I can't go to jail for parking. Mr. Blackwood, you're going to jail for nearly killing someone through your selfish disregard for emergency protocols. Preston's attorney jumps up desperately. Your Honor, we request immediate bail pending appeal denied. Your client is a flight risk who has shown no remorse and no understanding of the gravity of his actions. Preston panics completely. Your Honor, I have classes. I have important midterm exams coming up. I have social obligations. My fraternity is counting on me. You can't send me to jail. Your social obligations will wait. Dr. Walsh's recovery couldn't. This will destroy my academic career. My father will be furious. This could affect my admission to law school. Judge Caprio's response destroys Preston's final hope. Mr. Blackwood, your academic career was built on privilege you've used to endanger lives. 90 days will give you time to consider whether education has taught you anything about being human. Preston's voice cracks with desperation. Your Honor, please. I'll pay any amount. $50,000. $100,000. Whatever you think Dr. Walsh's suffering is worth. Mr. Blackwood, you just attempted to put a price tag on human suffering in my courtroom. I didn't mean it like that. I'm just trying to make this right. Making this right would have been not parking in the fire lane in the first place. As bailiffs approach Preston with handcuffs, he makes one last desperate plea. Your Honor, my family will donate money to the university. We'll fund a new emergency access program. We'll install better signage. We'll do whatever it takes. Mr. Blackwood, your family's money couldn't save Dr. Walsh when she needed it most. It won't save you now. Preston struggles against the handcuffs. This is discrimination. You're punishing me because my family has money. This is class warfare. Judge Caprio's final words echo through the courtroom. Mr. Blackwood, this isn't class warfare. This is accountability, something your class has avoided for too long. Preston Blackwood III is led away in handcuffs, finally learning that some consequences can't be purchased. 6 weeks later, Dr. Helen Walsh makes her first return visit to the Brown University Library. She uses a walker now and tires easily, but she's alive. The university has installed new emergency access barriers funded not by the Blackwood family, but by small donations from students who learned about Preston's case. Judge Caprio keeps a photo of the new barriers on his desk, reminder that justice sometimes requires protecting society from those who believe wealth makes them. Untouchable Preston serves 75 days before early release for good behavior. He returns to Brown University a changed person, volunteering with campus emergency services and advocating for stricter enforcement of fire lane regulations. Sometimes the most valuable education happens outside the classroom, when privilege finally meets consequence and discovers which one is stronger.